Hello and welcome to the GrapeSEED Official Podcast. This episode will be another installment in our 10 Things series, and our guest is Jodie Shell, a longtime GrapeSEED coach in America. Welcome to the podcast, Jodie.
Thank you so much for having me, Adam.
Let's get started with the most important question. Number one here, what is your favorite material and why?
Well, you might imagine that this was difficult for me to choose. When I was a GrapeSEED teacher, I often started a new material or new component by saying, oh, boys and girls, look, it's my favorite story or it's my favorite song. So it is hard to decide, but my very favorite classroom material from when I was a teacher is Everybody Grows from Unit 5.
Ooh, yeah, that's a good one.
And I say that because it has such a sweet tune. And once my own students who were babies, they were 4 and 5 years old, once they knew that song well, they sang it with such confidence and in such sync with each other. It almost was very moving for them as well. And as a matter of fact, there was one school year that some of my children were like, they moved themselves to tears. You can imagine that from little ones that age, but it's almost as though as small children, they kind of could feel the power behind the message of that song, especially like I said, once they knew it well and they were all sort of belting it out together at the same time, it just was really powerful for them. And so for that reason, Everybody Grows is my favorite GrapeSEED component.
It's got a special place in my heart too. When I first was hired by the company, I was sent to Mason to practice teach for a while. And my last day there, the kids were I think they were in Unit 6 at that point, but they got all the kids together and then they sang Everybody Grows on my last day, and just the waterworks. I was crying. Yeah. I was a mess, but it got a special place in my heart too.
Yeah, it's a dear song. So
let's move. So let's move to favorite unit. What's your favorite unit and why?
Oh, this is another tough one for me. And as a GrapeSEED teacher, Adam, I found that my students and I became almost emotionally attached, if that makes sense, to the unit that we were in. So just ending a unit and then starting a new one the next day, we kind of had to make it ceremonious almost. You know, it was sort of jolting for my kids the very first time that we were moving from one unit to another. I sort of was like, okay, great, you're finished with this unit, congratulations. And that night I stayed and took the unit down and got the new unit up on the front of the classroom and was sort of ready to go. And I had been getting into memory mode. And the next day when my kids came in, it was sort of jolting to them. Even though I had kind of mentioned to them that they were finished and we would be moving on to another unit, they were sort of emotional, like, where's our GrapeSEED? So that being said, all of the GrapeSEED units have a special place, I think, like you said, in our hearts as coaches and teachers and so forth. But my very favorite GrapeSEED unit is Unit 1. And I know that might sound like maybe the simple answer to that question, but I love it because it's children's very first introduction to GrapeSEED in English, oftentimes. But on top of that, it's often something that takes place for them during their first year in a structured school setting too. So for me, seeing those little light bulbs turn on as they start to kind of make sense of what's happening and make sense of some of the language that they're acquiring and might begin to sort of try or attempt to communicate with some of those new language expressions and vocabulary words and so forth that they're learning.
Absolutely.
It's really inspiring to see those light bulb moments for kids.
Goodbye, my friends, goodbye. I'm sad to say goodbye. It was a good day, but now I will say goodbye, my friends, goodbye. Goodbye, everyone.